Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Alchemisted, and this is once again Star Trek Online, Rise of the Red Shirt. And before I get started, there is one thing I want to talk about, and that is Stoked. For those who don't know, Stoked is a Star Trek Online podcast that has been covering the game since closed beta, way back in 2009. Now, I bring this up because next week, Stoked is ending. Next Saturday will be the official final production of Stoked in its current form. Stoked's host Chris is going on to do different things. He's discontinuing the show so he can focus on other matters, so he can focus on his online network, Jupiter Broadcasting, which I suggest you watch. A lot of cool stuff there. Now, Stoked will continue in the form of an audio podcast, though it will have video supplements named Stoked Radio, and this is going to be hosted by Jupiter Broadcasting's Mav, or as he's known on the official STO forums, Asmic. He's going to be the new host for Stoked, and I can't wait to see what they do there, but I just wanted to put that out there for those who enjoy Star Trek Online or are interested in Star Trek Online or have enjoyed watching Stoked in its current form. Next Saturday is going to be your last opportunity to do so. So be sure to tune in, because from what was said on the previous episode, it's going to be a look back at Stoked across the 2 years that he's been running the show. So it's going to be sad to see it go. In fact, somebody I talked to on Skype, Mveculus, actually started watching Stoked in the episode they announced this, and he was pretty bummed. He's like, why do I have to start watching the bad news show? So yeah, if you're interested in Stoked, this is going to be your last chance to see Stoked in its current form. I hesitate to say ever, because it's not impossible that the show as it is now will come back at some point once the game starts picking up. But as things are now, especially with the whole embargo on information that's been imposed upon Cryptic by, I assume, Perfect World, and I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about that in a bit, and I'll explain that in a second as well. With all this stuff going on, the host of Stoked felt it was time, and like 125 episodes is a really good milestone for a podcast like his. So he figured now was a good time to sort of let things rest, or let the show transition once again, as it did last year, into something new. Something that was easier and more cost-effective to produce, but was more run by the community, and hence you have it hosted by Mav. So yeah, tune in next Saturday for the final episode of the Stoked video podcast. Although, as I said before, the new audio podcast, which is called Stoked Radio, will have video supplements. Also, there's a very popular segment on Stoked called the Foundry Files, which is getting its own show. I believe you can check that out at Starbase UGC. I certainly will. I have rarely checked out Starbase UGC, although I probably should have, because I have all these Foundry ideas bouncing in my head constantly, and I have to hurry to write them all down. I'm one of those people who, if you put a content creation tool set in front of them, will freeze up in front of it because of all of the ideas that suddenly start bouncing around my grapefruit. I don't know where to start. I'm one of those people. It's like I'm crippled with indecision of what I should do first. So I've always wanted to get into the Foundry, but I've always had that problem, and it's been a problem for me ever since Neverwinter Nights, with the Aurora tool set, which is the inspiration for the Foundry, by the way, which I love that connection. But yeah, next Saturday, Stoked. And Foundry Files will be run by Starbase UGC, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the new show, the new Stoked podcast is going to be called Stoked Radio. You can still check it out you will still be able to check it out over at Jupiter Broadcasting. There will probably be a few weeks of delay, however, while they get things set up. So there you go. What else was I going to talk about? That's right, the whole Massively deal. So there was this thing at Massively, and I'm not going to talk about this here because I will be talking forever. But there was this whole deal at Massively that got me really upset last week. And I had intended to make a vlog, but I decided to hold off on it because I was still really, really furious. And it would essentially be a rage fest, and I don't want it to be a rage fest. I want it to be an intelligent discussion I don't know if it's a discussion because I'm talking to you. I'm talking to audio recording software. But just you know, my more coherent thoughts on what was going on with Mass Fleet and why it pissed me off so much. And I also want to cover a few other things, Tron Uprising and the return of Toonami and what my impressions of it were, and those will hopefully be in a vlog tomorrow, if not later. Sometime this week, I'm going to try to get that vlog up there, finally. I'm still writing up the show notes for it. I was taking notes all the way through Toonami, writing down stuff. Really fun last night. It was really fun, but there were a few disappointing things that I will touch on. Toonami is awesome, though. It's awesome to have it back. Anyways, now that I've been ranting for about 5 minutes on various stuff, let's get started with Ground Zero. Now, last time I mentioned that this mission is a very good mission to grind remnants on. And in fact, I previously recorded this mission, but it didn't really come out right. There was a lot of little bugs and stuff that I was working through still. New headset, by the way. I'm not having to record the audio separately, thank God. But there were a lot of little gremlins that I was trying to work out with this thing, and with my audio recording in general. So it didn't really come out the way I wanted it to. So I had to go back and sort of re-record it. However, I did successfully complete that Riemann accolade, and I will show you the trophy for it now. Let's see. Accolade, Ground Riemann. Now, the Ground Riemann trophy, I have to admit, isn't fairly impressive. It's essentially the chest plate that Revan wears. And if I can run over to Revan really quick and show you. Okay. You can see Revan wearing that. That's essentially what it is. It's the Riemann sort of chest plate shoulder pads deal that they wear. I almost want to say the sort of Saiyan armor that they wear, but it's not quite that far. It's also very small. Yeah, it also seems really small. My character is not of the tallest, nor is he of the stoutest stature in the world, or in the world of STO, at least. But, you know, it doesn't seem like that would fit, like even that would fit him at all. It seems a little too small, especially considering how tall the Riemann Bridge Officer is and how tall the Riemanns are in general. Although they are very tall and lanky, so I don't know. Maybe. So I'm going to put back up the Romulan trophy back up because we're still in the Romulan arc, so Romulan trophy. And I also noticed the Romulan trophy looks like it's missing its head. There's no head on the Romulan trophy. Like, is that supposed to be its head? I don't think it is. I think there's supposed to be a head there. Is that symbolic because you killed so many Romulans that the Romulan raptor doesn't have a head? One of these is also supposed to be blue and the other one's supposed to be green as well. I know I'm nitpicking. I'm just splitting hairs. But anyways, we are going to be doing Ground Zero if I can get the controls working right. Hello, fish. There we go. We are going to be doing Ground Zero, so let's go ahead and pet our tribbles and jump in. Episodes. Romulan Mystery. That's too far ahead. Okay. So much left in the Romulan arc, my god. So much left to do. This arc is huge. It drags on forever. Ground Zero. Take your ship into a mysterious system quarantined since the destruction of the Romulan homeworld. Sibilance. How much do you know about the destruction of Romulus, Admiral? The initial explosion did not occur in the Romulus system. It was in the Hobus system, which had planets being mined for decalithium. The supernova acted counter to almost all we know about this type of phenomena. The initial explosion converted the mass of the planets it consumed into energy, which then traveled through subspace. Ultimately, the Romulus system was destroyed, and along with it, the Romulan homeworld. Unchecked, the force of this chain reaction detonation could have threatened the entire quadrant. It was Ambassador Spock who sealed the rift using red matter to create an artificial black hole. The Hobus system has been off-limits to normal traffic since Spock and the Romulan known as Nero were lost there. Even Empress Sela respects the quarantine. Admiral Janeway conducted the first scientific survey of the Hobus system in 2388. Since then, we've been sending ships out on a regular basis to survey the system and attempt to determine a cause for what happened. I need you to conduct your own investigation. Perhaps, after all this time, the USS Woglinde will be the one to solve the mystery. So, what she's talking about is what happened in the Countdown tie-in comic to the 2009 Star Trek film. And, first of all, who the hell names a comic Countdown after DC did it? That's like, after Countdown to Final Crisis, naming your comic tie-in Countdown is like naming your boat the Titanic. It's not a good idea. You know, it's a bit of a negative name. And also, Countdown was awful. This is one of the reasons I wanted to re-record this, because last time it turned into a rant about Countdown and Star Trek Nero, which is also bad. So I'm going to get both of those things out of the way right now. Countdown is awful. Nero is a terrible excuse for a character, an even worse excuse for a villain. And as bad as Star Trek Countdown is, Star Trek Nero is worse. It is awful. It is so much worse. And the reason why it's worse is because unlike Star Trek Countdown, Star Trek Nero actually starts out good. And then it throws the most idiotic plot twist ever at you. The dumbest, most asinine plot contrivance I have ever seen in any Star Trek publication. Yes, and I include Destiny for people who are critics of Star Trek Destiny. As much as you may not like Destiny, I did, but as much as you may not, Star Trek Nero is worse. Star Trek Nero makes Mass Effect 3's ending look well written. I'm not even joking. It's that bad. I'm just going to spoil the ending of Star Trek Nero for you. Star Trek Nero gets into a battle of wills with V'ger. V'ger! He gets into a battle of wills with a living machine that has amassed all the knowledge of the universe and wins because he's angry. That's the conclusion of Star Trek Nero. That's like picking a fight with an Abrams tank in a tricycle. The only way they managed to stop V'ger in Star Trek the Motion Picture was to give it what it wanted. We're talking about there's a line from I forget what it is. I don't think it was Birthright. I don't remember the name. Rightful Heir. I think that was the name of the episode. Rightful Heir. Was it? Where Kalis comes back in TNG, where Worf is on pilgrimage to Boreth and Kalis shows up. I think it was Rightful Heir. I'm not sure. But he tells this story when Gowron is challenging him about a man who stood outside of a city wall right before a storm hit. And when Kalis asked him why he was going to do this, asked him to come inside or he would be destroyed, the man said that he would stand outside the wall and face the storm and make him respect it. And make it respect him. And Kalis, because he didn't want to interfere with this man, because he wouldn't want to dishonor him, walked into the city and locked the doors. And when they came out, the guy was dead. And Kalis finally looked at Gowron and he said, "The storm does not respect a fool." That's exactly the sort of thing Nero does in Star Trek Nero, is he challenges V'ger to a battle of wills. And the fact that he actually wins is utterly ridiculous. It's the height of stupidity. And this is what I was ranting about as I was going on, because this is all, of course, connected to Star Trek Nemesis. Because we're going to be dealing with the Great Bloom, the place where Data died next time. And yeah. You know, I really, really, really don't like narrow at all, and I went off on a long, long rant about that last time, and it was, oh, I completed that, cool. I failed it because it's not blinking. Damn it! I really hate the rate of success on the contraband missions now. Ugh. I hate that. Like, it seems that even with really high odds of success, I'm failing more times than I should be. I don't know. It's really, really, really irritating. But anyways. So that's what I spent all my time ranting about last time. And I spent all my time flustered about it. And this time, I just want to get it out of the way. You know, get it out of the way. That's it. And now I'm just going to focus on the mission. Have a good time. So your rewards for this mission, finally getting to this, are a phaser stun pistol of whatever mark is appropriate for your level with a damage bonus, and the same thing but a phaser sniper rifle. This loot is kind of not inspiring. Not really at all, especially for a mission that is supposed to resolve such a huge, massive hole in the continuity as the destruction of Romulus. That's kind of what the overarching theme of the last few missions in the Romulan arc is the destruction of Romulus and the Romulans dealing with things that they shouldn't be. And that's kind of the last what the last few missions in the Romulan arc are about. It's still boring. I really don't like the Romulan. Like the very next mission we go to has absolutely nothing to do with the Romulan arc at all. You know, it has nothing to do with any of the other missions. It's literally just there, and that's what a lot of the Romulan arc feels like, is random stuff in Romulan space is the way it feels, and there's very little connection to most of them, and that's why I love the Cardassian arc so much, is because while some of the missions may not be directly connected to each other, there is still a small plot connection between them all. There is a thread you can follow. You know, there is something along those lines where... and even when the things are not directly connected to everything else, they're still awesome. Most of the awesome stuff in this game, especially now with the 2800 attached to the end of it, which makes the Cardassian arc probably the best time you're going to have in this game, most of the awesome stuff in this game, excuse me, happens in the Cardassian arc. Most of the stuff in the Cardassian arc is worth the price of admission. Was worth the price of admission. Now it's for free. You lucky bastard, you. So anyways. So yeah, phaser sniper rifle, phaser stun pistol. They're not great. It's not very inspired loot at all. You can also pick up a lockbox. If you pick up the lockbox from this mission, I will get even with you. And the reason why is because all this contains, it's not a mystery package at all. It's a box that has a locked box in it that you have to pay money to open. That's all it is. So yeah, don't take this. You will get plenty of lockboxes for free because the game will throw them at you. Don't claim this. At the very least, claim one of these, and even if you're not going to use them, you can sell them off. So yeah, take one of those. They're not particularly... I imagine if it's your first time going to the game, they might be useful. But for higher level stuff, you're probably already going to have way more impressive stuff that's of a higher rarity and has more than one modifier on it. Excuse me. So you have to excuse me, because I live in the South, and in the South now is a really miserable time to be living in the South because of all the crap in the air. So we acquired the mission Ground Zero. Well, at least the treatment for minor illness went off without a hitch. Blah. No. 2025. I was hoping that would be 2525, but... Hello, Imveculus. Because I know I'm going to be picking up a bunch of stuff. Alright, let's leave the ship interior. Let's look outside of our window. as we set off and leave the ship interior. Beam from our ship to our ship. And again, I have to ask why. Why? Why am I beaming from my ship to my ship? So, what is my energy credit situation? 252, alright. So, ground zero. And it costs 12,000 energy credits. Ugh. The Romulan government is allowing Starfleet to conduct a scientific survey of the Hobus system, which has been under quarantine since the star went supernova in 2387. After all this time, we still don't know why the explosion happened the way it did. When the star went supernova, it converted the mass of the planet it consumed into energy. That energy traveled through subspace to other systems, including Romulus, which was some 500 light-years away. Billions of Romulans and Remans died in that explosion. Captain, I'm detecting Reman ships in the area. I would expect that they're here to keep an eye on us. We're being hailed by Commander Karatek of the Sitesh, sir. Putting him on screen now. We have been informed of your mission, Admiral, and I have decided, reluctantly, to permit your survey. I dislike Starfleet. I especially dislike your habit of treating the galaxy like it is your personal plaything. For your own safety, do not approach the supernova remnant, and do not orbit anything but the Hobus 3 planetoid directly in front of you. Conduct your scans and then depart. Quickly. Well, we just arrived here and we're already making friends. Okay. So I'm assuming that is where the Hobus star once was, because of the massive nebula that has been created. Oh no, don't do this. Don't do this. What? Have you no shame? Oh. All right. Have you no shame? Damn it, this is supposed to be the good run, the one that I'm uploading. Why? All right. Anyways. Okay, I am just checking something. Yeah. Sorry, I had the music turned down because I did a mission called Another Man's Hell, which I would recommend you do because it is awesome. And the problem with Another Man's Hell is that it involves fighting Valkyrie as a Federation character, and there's a bug fighting the Valkyrie as a Federation character where the battle music will not play. So I had to use some of my own. The planetoid's core contains trace signs of protomatter, sir. We should get a sample. Scanners are also picking up some odd readings from some of the silvery asteroids near the core. Recommend we investigate them as well. Alright. Let's give ourselves a nice little boost over there. You may be wondering why I'm not using full impulse. Captain, the Sitesh is decloaked and is powering up disruptors. We're being targeted. Yeah. I don't think so. Bye-bye. You want to engage in ship judo with me? And yes, one of those plasma torpedoes just erupted into a lockbox. Incoming hail from the Sitesh, sir. Do you want it on the main view screen? Put it up. Do not gloat, Admiral. Your victory will be short-lived. If you value your life, you'll leave this system immediately. Recommend we examine the 2 remaining planetoids, sir. There's obviously something here that Commander Karatak does not want us to find. Alright. Approach Hobus 2. Let's see, I should probably... Let's see, let's take those peregrines off. Well, let's put those peregrines on. Let's take those turrets off. There we go. Let's use up some deuterium surplus. I'm doing that because because if you've seen me play before, you know I despise full impulse. Hobus 2 shows signs of a protomatter explosion and debris on the surface that could have come from some sort of processing operation gone wrong. I recommend we take a sample for further study. Scanners are detecting some kind of shield covering a large crater on the surface of Hobus 1, Captain. This may be what Commander Karatek didn't want us to discover. So here's another musical track that is pretty meh. I'm not saying it's bad, but I am saying that most of the time when it plays, it really doesn't fit the situation. For example, here I am cruising through the ruins of a destroyed planet, the source of an explosion that killed billions, and here is an all-male choir going absolutely insane. This is another... I'd like to point this out as another case for my argument that there really should be a lot more atmospheric music in Star Trek Online. You know, stuff that's music that is simply ambient. You know, that simply adds to the atmosphere and doesn't, like, yank your attention away from what you're doing like this music does. Go down. Oh, lockbox, lovely. No. Have a hard ping. And some phasers. And back to this music. So we're going to go deal with these guys. Okay, one. There we go. I kind of allowed myself to get hit by that plasma torpedo because A, it wasn't going to do crap to me, and B, I could just clear it with hazard emitters. Nothing I could do about that one, though. There we go. I don't know why I'm scanning it, but I can, so I am. Oh, a methagenic particle trace. Those are nice. Now that shield is over here on this one, and the I would like to point out the coloring. I don't know if that's such a great example. You'll see what I mean as we pass over it. But I'd like to point out the coloring on these planetoid chunks is quite suspect. And it's not because it's bad, don't get me wrong. It's just that a lot of it looks kind of like water. And here's that shield that she's talking about. It's very nice that you can see it from space. There you go. That's what I was talking about. Like these blue areas. It looks like water. And on a planet that's been blown to chunks, you know, it's kind of curious that there's liquid water, that there's pools of liquid water still on the surface. Am I wrong? Am I off base? Would it be odd to see liquid water still on the surface of them if they've been blown into chunks? Discuss. That sounds like an interesting conversation that I like to have. But yeah, I really like that you can see the place you're going to be going next from space here. I kind of wish they did this more. I think it's really cool. I would have thought like it would be because I know for a fact that there are oversized versions of ships in this game. You used to be able to see them in Foundry. I don't think you can anymore though. But there used to be oversized, like somewhat realistically scaled versions of these ships. So it would have been nice if you could have looked up and seen a general idea of your ship. You know, the general model of your ship. And I don't know how they would make that work though. I don't know if they could. I'm certain they could find a way. But I'm just saying it would have been cool. But as it stands, you can't look up and see your ship. So, yeah. So we're going to scan this, and there are strange energy signatures coming from the surface of the planet. I'm picking up deposits of protomatter, decalithium, and techosite, and equipment that could be used to process those materials. Captain, in sufficient quantities, those three substances could be combined to create an explosive device of massive power. If it were loaded into a probe and sent into a healthy star, it would create a supernova. I recommend we collect samples, sir. We need to know more. Captain, the Sitesh has returned. And the Sitesh returns for yet another butt kicking. I don't think so. I said I don't think so. Phew. Give me my shields back. Yeah, that ain't gonna save you. The Sitesh is hailing us, Captain. Putting it on the main view screen now. This is not over. I will have your head mounted on my wall. Captain, it's time to take action. We should beam down to the surface and find out what's going on. They've attacked the Woglinde and endangered our crew. It's time to discover what they're trying to protect. Beam to Hobus 1. Now, this involves you, Revan. This involves your people, so you're coming down with us this time. Doppler will have to sit this one out. Let's go. This is clearly some kind of mining operation. Based on what we've seen thus far, I'd say that the Romulans don't know about it, and the Remans want to keep it that way. Foreshadowing. We should collect samples of the elements they are processing here as evidence. We will be able to compare them to the energy signature of the supernova and determine if material from this planetoid was used to create the cataclysmic explosion. I also recommend that we scan each of the power conduit hubs in this area to learn more, sir. There is something strange going on here. Alright. Weapons out, not that one. So, let's take a quick gander at Revan's status. So he's got a cryo tribble, which is great against Breen, not against much else. He's got a mat tribble. He's got a decent personal shield. Okay. He's got the Romulan Disruptor Beam Rifle. I'm going to go ahead and give him Doppler's Idic Tribble, though. There we go. You can use that one. Take that one off. And I will hand that one to... 4 can babysit the Cryo Tribble. Doppler can babysit the Mat Tribble. There we go. And the Riemann cape. I almost wish they'd take the cape off because it constantly glitches. There we go. There we go. Is this the same music that was... This is the same music from above. And again, you look up, can't see your ship. But this is the same... This power conduit is giving off some confusing readings. We will need to inspect the other 2 conduits in this area to get a complete picture of the situation. I really don't like this piece of music at all. It's really distracting. So, this place is the place I was talking about, and I was using my melee kit when I was fighting them dirty Valkyrie. This is the place I was talking about. And it does have one really crazy dangerous enemy on this map, and that's the Dark Shadow Guard Elites. These guys can cut even a Vice Admiral level character down to size pretty quickly, so you want to watch your back around them. Because, especially if there's more than one, because they can kill you quickly. There's the Shadow Guard Elite right there. That was a motorcycle that just drove by. Did I just get a small hypo from a green colored drop? Really? Scan North Power Conduit. Okay. What were they saying? Vascular Regenerator. Uh-oh. So yeah, in this map you're pretty much tripping over Riemann's the whole time. So if you want to grind that Riemann kill accolade, this is the place to do it. They are all over the place. And something else I want to say about this mission is with the map. This map is practically useless. The areas they highlight are way too big, and you can tell the general area where something is, but it's so wide an area that you're still going to end up getting lost here. And I did get lost last time. I spent a while trying to figure out where I was going and what I needed to do. Kind of defeats the purpose of a map function. Interlopers! So there's the Shadow Guards. The Shadow Guards can cut you down to size, but nowhere near as quickly as the Dark Shadow Guard Elite will. Okay. Disruptor Sniper Rifle Mark 11. Think of the Dark Shadow Guard Elites as essentially Klingon Swordmasters. Only more dangerous. If you'll believe that. There we go. And there he is. Oh, we picked a fight with one Dark Shadow Guard Elite, and you saw what he just did. He nearly killed me. He nearly ended me, and he did it very quickly. You need to watch out for them. And I forgot to bring the fire extinguisher again. Plasma Pulse Wave Assault Mark 10. Polaron Wide Beam Pistol. Small Shield Charge. Major Regenerator. Oh, that's at least useful for Elite. Yeah, so if you have the Breen Freezy gun, the CRM-200, or a fire extinguisher, you can put out those plasma fires, and it will save you a lot of stress if you're really susceptible to that stuff. I forgot to bring it again because I'm an idiot. Okay. So now I need to start collecting samples. Okay, collect rewards for those. Now, I like this music a lot better, although it's still a little distracting. And there's a Shadow Guard Elite. He is not a Dark Shadow Guard Elite, thankfully. They are still dangerous, just nowhere near as dangerous as the Dark Shadow Guard Elites are. Those guys are really rough. You want to watch out for them. Okay, so time to start showing you the interesting stuff on this map. There's only one anomaly, it says. But there is an interesting little place where you can get some stuff. Okay, we're going to collect the protomatter sample. And something else you may want to note here. This place has really super crazy low gravity, which kind of makes it weird that you can sprint and jump like this. In low gravity places, it's actually faster and much safer to sort of do this sort of shuffling kind of walk over the surface, and you'll end up traveling a long distance much quicker and with far less risk of sending yourself careening off the surface of a planet. And I don't, not entirely off the surface of a planet, mind you, but it's simply a lot safer to do that sort of shuffling little gait. You'll see what I'm talking about if you look at old moon landing footage. But being a video game, we'll just kind of go with it. So you guys wait here. Jump. Now normally I'd think only the Caitians can jump this high. Oh, I hesitate to see how high a Caitian can jump. It's something that I would like to see, and I wouldn't at the same time, because wow. Caitians probably have like the crackdown upgrade jump, like leap small buildings in a single bound sort of jump here. I imagine it's pretty fun if you're a Caitian. So I'm going to take you guys out really quickly. I'm going to power myself up. It's a nice little vantage point to clear out this little guard group. You know, a nice place where they can't get to you, really. Of course, well, that's not going to work out very well for him. They're not listening. Yeah, that didn't work out very well for him at all. Whew. How much fall damage? None. That would have... normal gravity, that would have resulted in some fall damage. Integrated targeting armor, Mark 11. Jump. 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 Leap. So that is the Idic Tribble. That has a different buff depending on which career the character holding it has. Since it's Revan and since he's a science character, I get a 0.02 HP regen power. I believe that would have been 0.02 increase to attack as well if I had been, or Hunter had been holding it, and I'm unsure what the engineering buff is. If anybody knows, please let me know. Let's take out this Guard Elite. That's what a lot of this map is. It's just getting from place to place fighting Remans. Again, if you want that kill accolade, this is the place to get it, because you are going to have plenty of opportunity to fight Remans here. I'm unsure how Revan feels right now, though. I imagine he wants to get down to the bottom of this as much as we do, considering that a lot of his fellow Remans died in the destruction of Romulus as well. Lima! What you doing? There you go. Okay, next sample is this way. This is also a really good place to test out ground builds, I'd imagine, simply because of the level of combat in this area. Oh, they're not. That thing that 8 just used, that purplish sort of thing, is actually an... Do I have one on hand? Do I have one on me that's not equipped on 8? No, I don't. It's an Undine telepathic inhibitor. That was an item from Terradome, which I don't know if Terradome can still be accessed anymore. I don't know if it's still available to do. It may have been taken... Like, access to that mission may have been taken out. But yeah, that was based... there's a part of that mission where you're given these... No, no Tribble. I swear my inventory spaces are vanishing. There's a part of that mission where you get these things and you have to look for a bunch of Federation... of captured Starfleet officers who are in this Undine prison camp where the Undine are forcing them to teach them how to act so they can infiltrate various Starfleet places and accomplish all kinds of mischief, and you have to look for a specific tell. You have to look for they're doing a like coin flip emote, and you have to look for that emote. You have to look for the ones doing that, so you can tell which one to fire the inhibitor off right next to and make sure they're Starfleet, so you can organize a jailbreak, basically. And it was a nice mission, though I never got to the end of it because the groups... because there was this one part where that it was really rough where you have to defend these people. Plasma split beam rifle, Mark 11. Where you have to defend these groups of people while they configure some consoles against hordes and hordes of oncoming Undine. And it was really rough, and we never got past it because people just wouldn't stick by them and protect them. Another Dark Shadow Guard. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous enemy. Take those out as fast as you can. Okay. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Have I said dangerous enough yet? They're freaking dangerous. Don't get caught by them. I'm not lost. I just don't know where I'm going. Let's see. Power conduit, power conduit, power conduit. Okay. Well, at least I'm going in the right direction. Jump, throw. Jump, jump, slide, slide. I like this combat music. I really like this combat music. I wish I could find it. Like, there is some good music in this place. Oh, where's Lima? Lima's gone down. Oh, he was right behind me. Alright. I really wish they would release the soundtrack, because there is some good music here. Targeting armor, Mark 11, regenerate shields, Tetrion White Beam Pistol. Straight ahead still. Okay, have a grenade. Kill the Shadow Guard. So yeah, there's a hierarchy of Shadow Guards. Shadow Guards are basically guard elites with a psychic power. They're not that dangerous. Let's see. Collect decalithium sample. I'm going to open these crates first. Decalithium sample. I've analyzed the data from the conduits and the samples, and I've reached some conclusions, sir. First, the Rieman's method of mining is causing the planetoid to be extremely unstable. In fact, the situation is critical. If we don't do something, this planetoid could become another Praxis. I think I can alleviate the problem, but we will need to disable the northern conduit and reduce the power moving through the western one. Once we've done that, we will be able to increase power to the eastern conduit. That will stabilize the power flow. Secondly, the signatures of the samples match that of the supernova. Material from this planetoid was used to create it. That means it was deliberate, Captain. The deaths on Romulus were murder. We need to report our findings to Starfleet. Recommend we adjust the power conduits quickly and get back to the ship. Alright. Which, of course, means now the Riemans are going to be shooting at us because we're trying to save them. Yeah. Yeah. This is how it happens to happen in this mission. I'm very sorry for that accent. Okay, everyone together? Good. What exactly does Revan have while I'm carrying around all this loot? Polyalloy weave. Let's see, what's this integrated targeting armor about? Physical, kinetic, all energy damage resistance. Less energy damage resistance, 5 critical chance. Let them keep the polyalloy armor. Alloy. Alloy. Let's see. Ow! Oh, someone's gonna pay for that. I didn't think it's you. Oh, over here. That was a low blow. That was not necessary. Says the man who chucks grenades at every enemy group. Alright, let's see. Dark Shadow Guard Elite. So we're not going to mess with you. We're going to go this way. What? Oh, I wanted to land on the pipe. Was the Guard Elite carrying a different sort of weapon just then? Before switching to a Romulan rifle? There we go. Am I crazy? Am I on crazy pills? Was he carrying a different weapon? We're ready to increase power to the Eastern Conduit, Captain. If the Riemans would talk to us instead of attacking, perhaps we could work this out. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Now I feel really sad. They're just walking around going, I hope this shield holds. And here comes a grenade flying at them, courtesy of me. Awesome music, though. So, yeah. Doesn't make it better. It does soften the blow, though. This way. For a moment, I thought I saw red behind us. Thought we were getting chased. That would be one brave Reman to come after us after all the Remans we've slaughtered here. Whoa! Saboteurs, we're trying to save you! Admittedly, we're shooting at you while we're trying to save you, but we're trying to save everyone we're not shooting at. So maybe you should be the people not shooting at us. So we don't have to shoot at you, so we can save you too. You just couldn't leave like you were told, could you? Typical Federation stupidity. You had your chance. Now you've learned too much. So now you get to fight off 2 waves of Remans who will go down incredibly quickly if your party is even moderately prepared. That's 1! Actually, it takes them a while to beam in the next wave because I took them out so fast. Leave Lima alone, dick. Oh shit, that was a Dark Shadow Guard Elite. Hate those. So now we have to defeat Karatek. I'm unsure where he comes from. There he is. Oh, I got a tribble. I did not tell it to jump there. Get out of my inventory. Now, Karatek is another really crazy dangerous guy, because not only does he have that life-draining beam, he also apparently has the multiform technique from Dragon Ball Z, as shown here. And each of these guys have that same life-draining ability, because they are draining the crap out of Lima right now. Go away. So yeah, it's kind of like what the what's the name? The Keldons. The Cardassian Keldons, except on the ground. Well, actually, the Cardassians do the same sort of deal, so, yeah. Captain, Commander Karatek is beamed back aboard the Sitheshan and has powered up his disruptors. Please return to the Woglinde immediately. Number 47. Number 47, I'm all for in-jokes, but number 47 is kind of appearing a hell of a lot in this game, you know? It's supposed to be a bit more on the nose. Like, most of the references to 47 were a lot more subtle in the series, but neither here nor there. Anyways, let's return to the ship. Return to their ship. Excuse me. Captain, Commander Karatek is cloaked and called in for reinforcements. We need to engage his support ships if we hope to stand a chance. Well, we'll need to engage his support ships anyways, because they're the only things here. So apparently Karatek, in light of the fact that he's fighting a starship that has defeated literally entire fleet single-handedly, sends 2 waves of birds of prey to do his work. Mind you, I'm not the most experienced tactician in the world, but this seems highly suspect. I don't quite get what he had hoped to accomplish here. Here's a ship that has defeated entire fleets, entire scores of our ships. Here's a ship that has taken on a scimitar, the largest ship we have to offer, single-handedly destroying it. A ship that itself can obliterate entire fleets, and was stopped by the Woglinde. Not only was it stopped by the Woglinde, though the Woglinde took a direct hit from its doomsday weapon, and the crew of the ship shrugged it off. And my heart pang just went wide. I hate that. And the crew literally shrugged it off. Half the crew asked for aspirin. That was the only result from the scimitar's beam. Maybe the ship was a little scratched up, but it buffed out, you know? So I'm not going to send all of my forces at once after this ship. I'm going to send 2 waves of the smallest ships we have to offer. Well, the second smallest. The smallest would be Scorpion fighters, but you don't see most of them. You don't see much of them at all unless you're launching them yourself, pretty much. Yeah, no. And I'm going to send these 2 waves against their ship, completely unaided by my vastly tactically superior vessel, in the hopes that the 2 of these ships can finally manage to do what the entirety of the Romulan Navy has failed at, and take down this one massive warship. Is it me? Now, the key to fighting Romulan ships, something you might want to keep in mind, especially if you're in a smaller ship like an escort, is that they will only tractor you if you're within a certain range. So if you don't want to get tractored and have them machine gun heavy plasma torpedoes at you, it's often best to stay outside of their range. Like so. Of course, because I have mastered the art of starship jujitsu, I will avoid these. And then I will pull a quick turn. Because I just hit the wall. Okay. Speed up again. And again, my ship is currently built to take on Borg, so I'm not sure what he wanted to accomplish here, or what he thought he was going to accomplish. For a moment I thought I'd actually run into the side, but no, it was just that thing he used on me. Viral Matrix, there it goes. He loves firing that thing off, doesn't he? His day just is not complete without firing off some Viral Matrix. Rocket! Oh god. Turn, there we go. I really love this. You flew through my plasma, you fool. You fool! And now you're getting torpedoed. I'll give him this. He gave me a good fight. Mess with the best, die like the rest. The Sith has been destroyed, Captain. We need to report what we found to Admiral Tenay. Command will want to investigate in more detail. The people who caused the destruction of Romulus should be found and made to answer for their actions. Agreed. And thankfully there is no "would you like to return to depart the system, Captain," this time. Good. Ah, it's an hour long. Last time I actually managed to do this in 40 minutes, though. Eeh. Alright, so, do I have any room left in my inventory? No, I don't. So I'm selling you because you're expensive. There we go. In progress. Ground Zero, hail Starfleet. We have much to consider, Admiral. If the destruction of the Romulan homeworld was a deliberate act, not only was it murder, but that one event has been a major cause of the destabilization of the Alpha Quadrant over the past 40 years. This one horrible act set off a chain of reactions that could change the Alpha Quadrant forever. We must know who did this and why. Now, we move on to the rewards, a phaser stun pistol or a phaser sniper rifle. I'm going to take the sniper rifle just to sell. And I will now do so. Sold. Yeah. There you go. That's Ground Zero. Fantastic mission to grind that Riemann accolade on. I imagine it would get fairly tedious, but there are so many Riemanns on that map that really it wouldn't take very long. Not at all. Just like with Researcher Rescue, and I just hit my volume again. Oops. Just with Researcher Rescue and with Hunting the Hunters, really great place to grind. And yeah, I think that's about it. Next time we will be doing Ghost Ship. And I remember the name of that mission because it's probably an example of a mission of a good idea not executed really well. And what I'm talking about is if you've played Foundry missions, then you've probably run into one or two missions that had a really poor usage of map transitions. You know, the kinds of missions that have map transitions every 5 or so minutes. Those, you've probably run into one or two of those, and that's kind of what Ghost Ship is like. I'm going to give you the general flow of the mission right now. You show up in the map, you fight something, you scan something, you beam onto a ship, you scan a few things, you beam back up, you fight a few things, you beam back down to the ship, you scan a few more things, you beam back off of the ship to your ship, fight some more stuff in space, you beam back to the ghost ship, you fight some things on the ghost ship, then you beam back into space. That's the way this mission flows, and it gets really tedious sitting through loading screens every 5 minutes. So, well, maybe not 5, it depends on how fast you're going, but you get the point I'm trying to make. It gets really, really tedious. So, I'm not a fan of this mission. Although, originally I did like the story it told. I do like the story, because this was originally your first introduction to an enemy that you encounter later on. Because of the way they've rewritten everything now, it's now your second encounter with them. I'm not going to say who it is. Those of you who've played the mission, already know who I'm talking about. Those of you who haven't will find out. But I am eager to see how they have rewritten it, because they've rewritten everything to sort of fit into this progression that not a lot of people were fans of, mind you. But it is sort of like playing through the abridged version of Star Trek Online almost, although it's very not abridged because we're still in the Romulan arc. I don't like the Romulan arc at all. It takes forever. Can't wait to get to Cloaked Intentions, though. The really, really, really cool stuff starts happening in Cloaked Intentions, which is kind of sad considering that you have all of the Romulan arc, and then you have Cloaked Intentions. And that's kind of sad. But there's also a Foundry mission that I want to do so much, but I'm holding off on it. I'm waiting to play it until after Cloaked Intentions. And again, those of you who've played it know what I'm talking about. Those of you who haven't will find out. Did something just blow up? Sounded almost like something blew up. You've got a venture. So yeah, that was Ground Zero. Great Riemann mission grind. Not really a satisfying explanation for what happened to Romulus in Countdown and the 2009 film, but the whole Hobus supernova thing, the whole star exploding and threatening Romulus thing, was so preposterous to begin with to anybody with even a remotely passing knowledge of astronomy, that there's no real way they could write themselves out of that without using technobabble. You know, there's a point at which you have written something that is so absolutely off the wall weird that there's no way you could write yourself out of it without that method being some kind of a cop-out. So at least they're so while I may not like a technobabble explanation for what happened, at least they are endeavoring to explain it in some manner that makes sense. And it's not the first explosion in Star Trek that made no sense. They mentioned Praxis. Praxis was a Klingon moon. It was their key energy production facility after the events of Star Trek Klingon Academy. And the explosion of Praxis and the massive shockwave it produced, which is like the Hobus supernova, utterly preposterous, but it was cool. It was the first time you'd seen something like that. In fact, that shockwave was so cool, they used it in a bunch of other stuff. I believe that shockwave actually appeared in Stargate as well. You know, the scene of the Excelsior surfing the shockwave, basically, you know, riding, like turning into the like Sulu going, turn her into the wave. And the scene of the Excelsior riding out that huge shockwave, while it was preposterous, it was like Gurren Lagann. Like, if you know anything about astronomy, then that whole scene is Gurren Lagann level of preposterous. But it was so cool to watch as a little kid that I kind of just had to go with it. The whole Hobus supernova thing, though, you know. Am I seeing it through Am I seeing it through a nostalgia filter? Am I seeing it through the goggles? Because is it me? Is it just me? Am I just seeing? I don't know. I just think the whole Hobus supernova thing is utterly ridiculous. And I'm glad they're trying to explain it, even if that explanation includes the preface from an NPC in the game that the X does not make any sense. You know, while you're going to Romulan space for the first time, you pick up an NPC from a starbase in the Regulus sector block, and you talk to him about the destruction of Romulus, and he admits, basically in universe, this makes no sense. So I'm glad we're starting to see an explanation, and that explanation does tie into events that are going to happen, and you're going to start seeing that it's sort of that the destruction of Romulus has a larger role to play in the main plot of Star Trek Online, if it ever continues. But we'll see that as we go on with the Romulan arc. There are about 10 missions left in the Romulan arc. After everything we've done, there are still 10 missions left, including Cloaked Intentions. Why is this arc so long? It's so damn long. But that was Ground Zero. Next time is Ghost Ship. And this has been Star Trek Online, Rise of the Red Shirt, and I will see you guys later. So later.